like you spit out a tooth last night. Did you?
No, I think I just bit down on my tongue, and I was just, honestly, I was checking if it was still there. For being completely honest, the ball hit my face, so I was just making sure everything was good.
Well, that aside, was it good to kind of keep momentum going, in this stretch?
Yeah, absolutely. Every road win is a good win. I think we obviously didn't play as well as we would have liked to in certain aspects on the defensive end, obviously. But I think we just toughened it out and we got the win. So.
Caitlin, you've been here obviously since Sarah Andrews has come to the team. So how much have you seen her grow from when she first stepped on campus to last night, coming through with that, clutch 3-point,
Yeah, absolutely. Sarah's amazing. Sarah's been amazing since she's gotten here. I think for her, it's been confidence as she's grown. Last year, freshman year coming in, we had so many players here, and she's just grown in her confidence. Every time the coaches have challenged her, she's done everything she has possibly been able to do to meet that challenge, to meet those obstacles, and to just overcome them. So she's amazing, and she's going to keep getting better.
Nicki, I'm assuming you went back and looked at film. Defensively, what do you think the lapses, I guess, were?
Yeah, here's the crazy part. I've watched some highlights, but I have not watched the game. With these turnarounds as quick as they are and knowing you got to be on the court and have a game plan in by 1:30, I went into West Virginia mode and let my assistants watch the game. I'll watch our game tonight. But I felt like I had to watch enough of West Virginia to really feel like, we had a sound game plan because today, we have our guys, we have our practice squad, and we leave tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. So this was going to be our really good prep practice. And so that's the approach I took. That's not always the approach. It depends on kind of what the turnaround time is. If we've got a day off, then I'm certainly going to watch us first. But, I was there and I watched it live. So, I have a pretty good feel for what, some of the things that happened is they just made shots and they had players make shots that, quite frankly, don't usually make shots. And I think it's a little bit of the Baylor blessing and curse. I think teams play with a little more underdog mentality, a little more nothing to lose, so they're letting it fly from spots that they, quite frankly, don't even usually shoot it from. And so to have Embry step up and make a three, to have Taylor Thomas step up and make a three, there was a reason they were open, And so now we didn't want Lexi Hightower to be open. We didn't want McKinney to be open. We didn't want, but we just, some of our rotations were bad. We made bad decisions. We didn't make effort decisions. That's the one thing. Like, I think if you watch the game, it wasn't a lack of effort. We over-rotated some. We just didn't kind of stick to, like, understanding, who we were guarding and what they were good at. And, some of it was just we've been hurt by big guards this season. Leah Brown, we were talking about this before. Vivian Gray playing the three pretty much exclusively she might have moved to the four for about 3 minutes in the game. But we don't have a lot of size at the guard spot. So, you kind of saw us stay with the big lineup longer than we have at any point this season, simply to match up with them.
In a game like that, where you're kind of trading buckets, especially it felt like late, what's the kind of emotions and energy on the team in those kind of circumstances, and how do you kind of decide late in the game where you're going to extend energy, whether between the offensive side and defensive side, when everyone seems like they're making it?
Well, I think you never take off on defense. Every time we come down and we'd score, it's like, get a stop. Like, we're not out there to trade buckets. That's not how they prepare us for any game. That's not, I can tell you that's definitely not how we want to go up against any team. That's not how we should be going up against any team. Like Coach Nicki said, they were making a lot of shots. We were lucky enough that we were playing offensively really well and getting a lot of what we wanted. But just going into the future, any other games, we can't play that way. We got to lock down defensively, and I think every time we came down, whether we got fouled, whether we got a stop, whether just anything happened, you could see us come together, and we were like, hey, come on. I can tell you in the huddle, every single time I was in the huddle, we were like, we need to get a stop. We weren't focused offensively. We were focused offensively, but, we knew defensively, that's how we were going to win the game. So,
Caitlin, kind of along that line, after they tied the game with about 2.5 minutes to go, Baylor scored 9 of the last 10 points in the game. Was there anything different when they tied that challenged you? Was it really more kind of like you said, just continuing to execute even after they tied it up?
just execution. I think we've done really well since our game against Oklahoma. I think we really turned a corner in, at least when we are in tighter games, of finishing the game. You know, I think we stayed a lot more calm. We were all listening to each other. We were all listening to the coaches, everything they were giving us. And I think it was just execution and just staying calm and doing what we do best as a team.
Nicki, you
What's
mentioned
that
a
like?
quick turnaround. You got West Virginia in 2 days, but then that's the first game of 4 games in 9 days.
Mm-hmm.
Does that amount, and given that you're playing 7 players, does that impact your expectations at all?
No. We just have to be careful when we can be careful. These guys, look, they're banged up. There's no question most players in the country are, but they're also still young. They still have young legs. We're obviously prioritizing the recovery component. We're trying to get cold tubs even in West Virginia tomorrow. So we're trying to go kind of the extra mile in terms of taking care of their bodies. We're going to always, look at our situation from a prep perspective and figure out where can we taper. We went hard today, but we didn't go long. And tomorrow will be a lot lighter at West Virginia. And hopefully the fact that, we at least have an early game on Saturday gives us a little longer time frame upon return. So they'll get a day off on Sunday, and then, we'll kind of pick right back up from there. But, do we expect to win every game we play? Yes. So does that change our expectations? No. I mean, I think that, if we can play 3 games in 3 days in Cancun with a short roster, we can play 4 games in 9 days.
What's that like from a coach's perspective? Obviously, you want your team to be clicking on all cylinders when you go into a hostile environment like West Virginia. You guys, you have 4 straight, playing really well right now. So what's that like?
I mean, it's about game plan execution. It's about understanding that every opponent is a little bit different. They have different strengths and weaknesses. I'm not comparing West Virginia necessarily in every way to Oklahoma State, but they're a little more like Oklahoma State because they're heavy pressure, heavy ball pressure, create offense from their defense. They play the passing lanes, and the big difference for them is in their wins, they get 24 points off turnovers a game, and in their losses, they get 13. So if they can turn you over and get in transition, they're really, really good. If you don't cough up the basketball and can defend them in the half court on every possession, you have a chance to win. Honestly, I said it before, this isn't a team, like when you look at them statistically, they don't shoot the 3 ball very well. Outside of KK Deans, and even her numbers aren't like a lot of the guards in our league that we would look at as, the pure shooter type. She's a scorer. But certainly, they're going to confidently take shots against us. They've got a lot of kids that are shooting in the 20 percentile that still are capable of making a couple threes. So, I think it's about, just kind of understanding who we're playing, what their strengths are, what our strengths are, what we have to do against what they do, and executing that at both ends of the floor.
What would you consider their strength?
First is KK. I mean, I think that she's a player that can go create shots for herself, can play really fast, and then really they just play passing lanes, and they turn you up, they make you uncomfortable offensively, and their defense can create offense. I mean, they really can get in passing lanes, get steals, get in transition, get easy buckets, get to the foul line that way, and then at times they can really rebound. Nyblack and Martinez and those guys can get after it on the offensive glass. So, but really it's their defense. They're very, very, and they've always been that way. Like, players change year to year, but how he plays, the physicality, the toughness, the defensive energy that they play with, that's their staple.
Caitlin, for you going into this stretch of games, playing a lot of games in a little time, is that something that excites you just to know that you're not going to have as much practice time and it'll be a lot of games after games after games, or, you know?
Oh, that's funny.
As
Trying to get me caught up now?
Yeah,
Trying to get me in trouble over here?
yeah.
From a player perspective,
Yeah.
No, I love being around them. I mean, we have a good time practicing. We're always going hard. Yes, I mean, this is the greatest time of the year, man. I mean, who doesn't want to go head to head playing other teams and being competitive every single night? Like, nothing beats that. Nothing beats March Madness. Nothing beats Big 12 conference play. It's exciting. It's fun. You get to compete against some really high level players and not always, against your teammates or dream team guys every day. But I'm just excited. I think we have a good winning streak right now. Every single game we go into, we want to go 1-0, and I think it's great when you get another win under your belt. So.
Caitlin, if y'all, you mentioned you kind of turned the corner at Oklahoma and learning how to finish. Because you've been in all those close games, do you think that helped you last night? Maybe helped you at Kansas, that y'all been in so many close games?
Yes, we don't want to be in close games, of course. That's never our goal. But just overall looking composure-wise. I mean, when you're in those situations, your composure is just so much different. Like, I can tell you, we were calm, cool, collected with a minute to go yesterday. We were very calm. We were in the huddle. We were like, hey, we're good. Let's get a stop. Let's make these free throws. It changes over time. Obviously, we don't want that, but when we do get caught in those situations as we go down the stretch against these tough teams that we're going to play every week, that's really important to have.